Hello ATS 113 students, my name is Dr. John Schrage, and I'm going to be your instructor for this semester of the online section of the ATS 113 course. It's fall 2015 and I'm excited for a new semester. As you may know, I'm actually one of only a handful of faculty members at Creighton who work completely online. In fact, I don't actually live in Omaha. I live in Evansville, Indiana, which is basically as far southwest in Indiana as you can get. It's basically the corner of Kentucky and Indiana and Illinois. I moved here about a year and a half ago with my family. Prior to that time, I did teach traditional classes at Creighton, but about a year and a half ago, we got an opportunity to move to Evansville, and my wife, who is a dentist, bought a practice near here. And we moved here with our kids, who are now, Xavier is 5, and Gabriel is 2, and I really like online teaching. I think it's been an interesting new challenge. One of the things that Creighton requires about online courses is that they have 8 modules. Modules are pretty much the same thing as units or something like that. There's technical reasons why they like to have 8 units or modules for each online class. It has to do with the fact that sometimes the classes are taught in an accelerated semester for like adults who are returning to school or over the summer, and that way the class can scale where each module might be 1 week. Well, this is a full semester class, so we have officially 16 weeks to take a class with 8 modules, which sounds great, except for some reason they count finals week as one of those 16 weeks, and we miss half a week because of Thanksgiving, and there's Labor Day along the way. We don't exactly have 16 weeks to do 8 modules. So you can kind of see what the issue is here. I'd like to give us 2 weeks for each of these modules of material, but a few of them don't quite work out, and in fact I think one of them is a week instead of 2 weeks, and one of them is a week and a half. But all of that is made very clear using the course calendar. For a class like this, I'm a big believer that everybody should have a calendar that shows you what all the deadlines are. And as a consequence, I've made you a calendar which you can access on Blue Line, and I recommend doing whatever it takes to make that calendar work for you. If that means printing it out and putting it on your refrigerator, if that means loading all the dates for that calendar into your cell phone, or whatever works for you, so you get notifications or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I'll in general be sending you emails reminding you when every deadline is coming, but the calendar is just really important for the semester, so make sure whatever works for you, get a copy of that calendar. Because really, in many ways, the most important thing in this class is to not fall behind. This is not the kind of online class where you sort of work through it at your own pace. Quite to the contrary, I mean, we all start a particular module at the same time. There's a homework set, there's a discussion, there's a response to the discussion. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Then there's a quiz at the end of each module. And all of those things have specific deadlines that keep you all on track. I mean, it would be hard to have, for example, an online discussion if you were all in different modules at a different time. So we do still work through the class as if we were together. It's just that it is handled in an online fashion. So when you start each of the modules, generally the modules start with a reading assignment, which I'll email you, as well as you can always find it in the first entry in the, on Blue Line is like a introduction to Module 1 kind of thing, or introduction to Module 2, which features a little video for me, usually about 5 minutes, explaining kind of in broad outlines what we're going to be doing in this module. That introduction section also has the readings, and I recommend doing those readings, of course. Then there's a series of online lectures. I've experimented a couple of different ways over the last couple semesters of how to make online lectures, and so you'll see that some of them, for example, are just a YouTube video of me talking and showing slides. Some of them are what we call a Google slideshow, which is a little bit more interactive. You can kind of move through it more at your own pace, but each slide has a little video of me explaining what's going on, and then you swipe over to the next slide and so on. The instructions are always there on the page. There's also these new lectures that I've been making that are on YouTube, but they're interactive. You have to answer questions to move on to the next part of the video. You know, every maybe 5 minutes or something like that, I pose a question to you, and you have to answer the question before you can move on to the next part of the lecture. I see pros and cons to all these different types of lecture formats, and I'm always excited to hear what the students think and find out what they think is working and what is not working. That's why all of the online lectures have a link at the bottom of the lecture for you to go to a page where you sort of tell me about how did that work. the audio wasn't very good, you went too fast on this lecture, that kind of stuff. And it just helps me get feedback as to what lectures need to be re-recorded or what works and what doesn't. I really appreciate your feedback about those kinds of things. That's how we make the class better. Part of your grade for each module is the discussions. Creighton has a policy about online courses, and one of them is that each module of the course, each unit, if you will, has to have an online discussion in Blue Line. But what exactly that means is sort of up to the instructor. In fact, you could say that there's still somewhat of a discussion as to what discussion should be. So for each of the online modules, there is a discussion where you are to write I pose a question and you give your response to it. You know, what do you think about such and such, or how do you know about this, or whatever, and you write your response to it. It has to be written professionally. You can't be, you have to have appropriate grammar and spelling. It can't be written like a text message or something like that. Typically, students write a couple of paragraphs or something like that for their posts to the discussion. And then a couple days later, and again, I'll always have that on the calendar and send reminders about it. You have to respond to some of your classmates' posts. I think it's 2 you have to respond to. And once you start scanning through your classmates' posts, you won't have trouble finding somebody who you want to say something to. Now, this can't be, I agree, thanks. I mean, you have to further the discussion. You have to advance what they're saying or provide a counter argument or whatever. I feel this way about the Kyoto Protocol or whatever, or you're forgetting to take this into consideration. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's grade in the course is made or broken by the discussions, okay? We'll muddle through them as we learn more and more each semester about what works and what doesn't on those discussions. A few of the discussions are more like a lab activity. I provide you with some materials, you do a particular thing and show the results, and then your fellow students critique you as to how you did on it and so on. In general, students do just fine on the discussions as long as they participate, and they participate on time. Okay, I think that's about it. Welcome very much to the class, and I am looking forward to seeing you. I, of course, am not on campus, so I can't do office hours in a traditional sense, but you can always contact me via email, and I believe it's from noon to 1 every day. You can contact me via Skype. All the contact information is available to you on the class syllabus, which you can also get from the the Welcome to ATS 113 module on Blue Line. Everything we're doing this semester is on Blue Line. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to an exciting semester. This is Dr. John Schrage.